Dear viewers, due to error in previous video, I have re-edited this episodes. Thanks for your understanding and joy. Chapter 1146 King Insect and Mother Insect. After everyone from the 5 districts arrived, the host, the Shengjing district, also arrived. Long Mingwei General Shang Dawen came out from the back with a middle-aged man with gray hair, and everyone's eyes fell on him. They knew that this was the commander of the 1st district, Qinling. In the Earth God Temple, Guanlongyue was wearing a black pajamas and sitting on the soft bed with her knees hugged. Her long black hair fell like a waterfall, and the projected video in front of her was the people in the conference center at this time. Everyone's appearance was clearly visible in front of her. Shang Dawen introduced Qinling and the people present, and then Qinling sat down at the first seat, and Shang Dawen stood behind him, looking like a guard. Dinner. Tonight's guests were entertained with the most exquisite dishes, not to mention in the end of the world. Even before the end of the world, it was food that ordinary people dared not even think about. But everyone's mind was obviously not on the food. Everyone wanted to know why Qinling summoned them here, and what secrets are hidden under the Qinling Mountains, and how much benefit can they get. After a round of greetings, Han Shanzhua spoke first. Qin Shui, what exactly do you want us to do by calling people from our 6 districts here this time? Please tell me. Han Shanzhua was careless, but he saved others a lot of trouble. Zhang Yi and others couldn't help but look at Qinling in the center. Qinling put down the wine glass in his hand, and then slowly said, I believe you have all seen the fragments of the yuan, or we sent to each district. This is a newly discovered substance that is not among the known elements in the periodic table. It contains huge energy, and one piece can release thousands of times the energy of the same volume of oil. The Qinling Mountains are the dragon vein of Huashu country. Its underground is extremely huge. After the end of the world, we have discovered huge mysteries from it. With our Shengjing district alone, we can't even explore 1/10 of it. Therefore, we intend to ask your 5 districts to join the development of the Qinling Mountains in the spirit of considering the national justice. It is true. Zhang Yi held the wine glass in his hand and said secretly in his heart. This statement was similar to what he, Zhu Zheng, and Deng Shintong had speculated. Shengjing district had to seek help from other districts because it encountered difficulties under the Qinling Mountains. Zhang Yi listened silently and had no intention of speaking. Li Changgong raised a question at this time. The strength of Shengjing district is the strongest in Huashu country. You have 3 Epsilon-level aliens, and your military strength is far greater than ours. If even you can't solve the problem, how can we help? Besides, he suddenly smiled. What is under the Qinling Mountains? You haven't told us yet. Under the gaze of everyone, Qinling also answered their doubts. Everyone, please look. He stretched out his hand and pointed to the front. In front of the conference room, a 3-dimensional projection suddenly unfolded. The light in the projection was very blurry, as if it was shot with special equipment in a dark environment. But you can vaguely see 2 huge and hideous monsters. They were 2 huge centipede-shaped monsters. One was pitch black and the other was blood red. Just by watching the video, one can feel its horror. Qinling looked at them with a solemn expression. This video was sent back by Jin Yuanzi, the garrison commander sent by Shengjing district to Qinling Mountains. He encountered 2 Epsilon-level monsters underground in the Yuan mine. We call this kind of monster a centipede. They are a male and a female. They can dig the hardest soil and rocks underground and move freely 10,000 meters underground. Not only that, their reproductive capacity is also extremely amazing. According to our estimates, the mother insect can lay 1,000 centipede eggs every day, and they only need less than a week to hatch. By gnawing on the yuan ore, they can grow to 5 meters long in 10 days. Li Changgong said slowly, it is them that forced the mining work in Shengjing district to stop, right? Qinling nodded. Zhen Yuanzi can't handle such a big trouble alone. After all, the battle is deep in the cave, and these underground insects have an innate advantage. And every day we stop working, we will face huge losses. Zhang Yi smiled and said, the 3 Epsilons in Shengjing can't solve them. Qin Shigong couldn't help but laugh helplessly when he heard this. If Shengjing puts all its strength into attacking the nests of these insects, it may not be impossible to win. But in that case, Shengjing will be empty. And doing so is very risky. Han Shanzhua raised his eyebrows. I understand. So you called us here to share the risk with you? Qin Shigong nodded. Yes, that's right. Let's not beat around the bush. We can't bear the risk of attacking the cave alone, but if several of us join forces, it will not only increase the probability of success of the operation, but even if the mission fails, it will be easier to accept the risk sharing. Of course, risks and benefits are equal. If you are willing to participate in this operation, each family can get 10%. The share of the Yuan mine. Shang Dawen added at this time. According to our current exploration, the reserves of the Qinling Yuan mine are roughly equivalent to 200 billion tons of oil. As soon as these words came out, the expressions on the faces of the people present changed significantly. 200 billion tons of oil? Zhang Yi was also a little stunned. He even suspected that there was something wrong with his ears. Did he hear it wrong? However, Yang Xinxin's voice came from the communicator. This reserve is very reasonable. The largest oil field discovered in the northwest of our country has proven reserves of 14 billion tons. And the discovery of the Yuan mine is equivalent to finding a giant oil field that is easier to mine and transport. Zhang Yi took a sip of the wine in the glass. 1% is the energy of 20 billion tons of oil. Even if half of it is distributed to the Jiangnan region, he can get the energy of 10 billion tons of oil. Of course, the mining cycle is a problem, but it also means that Zhang Yi will have a steady supply of energy in the future. This will completely solve the energy problem of Tianhai City.
He remained calm.
Risks and benefits coexist. People told him bluntly that this business is not so easy to do. He looked at the two huge and hideous centipedes in the projection. Qin Shui, how strong are these two monsters? Zhang Yi asked. Qin Shigong replied, we took into account the impact of the underground environment, and the data we got is, the supernatural power index of the king insect is 18,000 points, and the supernatural power index of the insect mother is 16,000 points. Chapter 1147. Pressing Forward. After hearing what Qin Shigong said, the faces of the people at the scene became more serious. Because the two Epsilon centipedes were really strong and difficult to deal with. No wonder the Shengjing district needed to borrow personnel from other districts to participate in this operation. However, Zhang Yi had some doubts in his heart. He thought about it and did not say it out loud for the time being. After all, he was not good at power struggles. If he said something inappropriate rashly, it would only make him look inconsiderate. From beginning to end, Paja Jeseng and Jiang Han did not speak. In terms of strength and status, they were not qualified to speak at this time. They knew it very well in their hearts. They just came here to listen, and then they had to go back and report to the real person in charge of the district to let them make the decision. Qin Shigong raised the wine glass in his hand and said to everyone sincerely, everyone, I hope you can think about this matter carefully. If you are willing to participate in the operation, we welcome you very much.
But
he changed the subject and swept his eyes over everyone without leaving a trace, especially when he passed the representatives of the Southwest region and the East China Sea region. He paused slightly. What we need is the combat power of the Epsilon level. If you don't plan to send top forces to participate in this operation, then you can only withdraw. The main trouble they encountered was still the centipede tribe under the abyss. If you want to go into the depths of the earth to deal with them and allow the mining of the Yuan mine to continue, you must have a strong man of the Epsilon level. No matter how many other people there are, they may only be able to deliver food after entering the territory of the centipede. Jiang Han's eyes showed a thoughtful look, and he still said nothing. But this time, it was clear that the East China Sea region could not participate. She had not yet broken through to Epsilon, and Xuanwu could not leave the sea, so this operation had to be abandoned. And Paja Jeseng touched his beard on his chin, with a smiling face, and it was hard to tell what he was thinking. Besides, it was not him who really made the decision, but the 4 major family associations in the Southwest region. Zhang Yi, Li Changgong, and Han Shanzhua all showed thoughtful expressions, obviously weighing the pros and cons. At this time, Zhang Yi raised his own question. How much force will your Xinjiang region send out for this operation? Qin Shigong glanced at Zhang Yi and said with a smile, the guardian of Wuyo Valley in the Qinling Mountains, Jin Yuanzi, and more than a dozen Longming guards with a supernatural power index of more than 9,300 points. As soon as these words came out, Zhang Yi, Li Changgong, Zhang Han and others all widened their eyes and looked at each other in disbelief. Xinjiang region is so generous, casually mentioning more than a dozen strong men who can be captains and fleet captains in other regions. If calculated in this way, I don't know how terrible the real foundation of Xinjiang region must be. Zhang Yi thought to himself, is this the rich reward brought by enjoying a mysterious area alone? Terrible, it's really terrible. Recalling the time in Qingdao, the appearance of the source of God in the Fog Valley did bring them huge gains. They just searched around the periphery of the Fog Valley and found a large number of source elves containing powerful energy. And Xinjiang has mastered the mysterious area under the Qinling Mountains for nearly a year, and I don't know how many good things they have obtained from it. Han Shanzhua rubbed his thick fingers and looked up at Qin Shigong and Shang Dawen. Is it true that you said you would give us 10% of the resources in the Qinling Mountains? Qin Shigong's smile deepened. Shang Dawen adjusted his glasses and said faintly, the resources we are talking about only refer to the yuan mines excavated under the Qinling Mountains. In other words, what they found under the Qinling Mountains is not just the yuan mine. There are also some things that are unknown to outsiders. The eyes of everyone present changed, and they all had their own intentions in their hearts. Ahem. Qin Shigong cleared his throat. Everyone, don't be in a hurry, let's eat first. You can go back and discuss it slowly and give me an answer when you have an idea, but I hope you can give me an answer within 3 days. After all, we can't wait too long. If we stop mining the yuan mine for 1 day, we will suffer huge losses. He took a sip of the aged wine and said lightly, in fact, our Xinjiang district is not incapable of solving this problem, but we just want to avoid some risks. Only 1 or 2 helpers should be enough. The meaning of this sentence is very clear. You 5 districts should think about it carefully. In addition to the East China Sea district, which cannot be taken due to conditions, there are still 4 districts with Ypsilon. But if you come late, it is not necessary for you, and maybe this opportunity will disappear. And that 10% of the yuan mine has nothing to do with you. The eyes of everyone looking at each other changed again. But at this moment, Li Changgong suddenly put down the wine glass in his hand. I can agree that the Northwest District will participate in this operation. Li Changgong's sudden opening disrupted many people's plans. Originally, everyone wanted to think about it again and wait and see. Who would have thought that he would be so decisive? Qin Shigong also looked at Li Changgong with a smile. Go Chun is indeed from a military family. He is decisive in his actions. It makes people sigh that every generation has its own talents, and the new generation replaces the old.
People.
Qin Shigong's words were meaningful. He and Li Changgong were both regional commanders, but he did not call Li Changgong Li Shuai, and the latter sentence was obviously referring to Li Changgong's use of force to seize power. But Li Changgong could not refute this. After all, no matter in terms of status or resume, he was far inferior to Qin Shigong, the veteran commander. Li Changgong's eyes were a little gloomy. He clenched the wine glass in his hand and said in a deep voice, "But I have a condition for participating in this operation." Qin Shigong's eyes sank slightly, and Zhang Yi also raised his head and looked at Li Changgong with a calm expression. Li Changgong really looked at Zhang Yi, and his sharp eyes were like 2 swords, piercing Zhang Yi's face. My grievances with Han Dun must be resolved first. Otherwise, neither I nor he will be able to trust our backs to each other. I hope that Xinjiang district can host it and let me fight Han Dun fairly. I, Li Changgong, can guarantee with my military honor that I will not take his life. This is a battle of honor, so stop when you are done. If General Qin can agree to this request, or at least not interfere in our fight, I will agree to participate in this operation. Zhang Yi's eyes gradually became sharper. Li Changgong, what is coming has finally come. He will not miss any opportunity to step on Zhang Yi and secure his position as the king of the Northwest. Chapter 1148, I want to bet my life with you. In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on Zhang Yi and Li Changgong. Qin Shigong and Shang Daowen stared, wondering what they were thinking. As the host, they certainly didn't want to see the representatives of the Northwest region and the Jiangnan region fighting. But now, they really need Li Changgong's support. Qin Shigong slowly said, I respect the opinion of His Excellency Chaos of the Jiangnan region on this matter. As long as he doesn't nod, no one can force him to do something he doesn't want to do in Shengjing. Qin Shigong said this, without any hesitation. He is the supreme commander of the first region in the central area of Huashu country. The people of Huashu country pay the most attention to face, and the more noble the status, the more they care. In any case, Qin Shigong will never give up the basic principles. However, Zhang Yi stared at Li Changgong, and their eyes collided in midair, and the air was filled with a strong smell of gunpowder. Li Changgong's eyes were sharp, domineering. He didn't deliberately show such an attitude, but was born like this. As a general, his domineering attitude is innate. This is a status inherited through blood. Zhang Yi did not rush to speak. At this moment, his heart was already burning with anger, but he knew very well that the more such a situation, the more he needed to remain rational. If you are not careful, you will fall into someone else's trap. Everything can be done once or twice, but not 3 times. Li Changgong was forcing Zhang Yi to express his position. This is the 3rd time today. If Zhang Yi evades again, even if this battle does not start, he will become a laughingstock and a coward in people's mouths from now on. Li Changgong, on the other hand, won the battle without fighting, stepped on Zhang Yi's head, and gained a prominent reputation. After all, at this time, it was only half a year before Zhang Yi became famous on Qingdao and let the East China Sea area know the name of Chaos. But Li Changgong was not well known in the outside world. Zhang Yi retreated, which was equivalent to using all his efforts to make wedding clothes for Li Changgong. This is an open conspiracy. If he fought, he would fall into the trap laid by Li Changgong. Even if he doesn't fight, Li Changgong will still win. Zhang Yi slowly put down the wine glass in his hand. Under the gaze of everyone, Zhang Yi looked at Li Changgong with contempt and said slowly, You said you want to fight me? Li Changgong, you think too highly of yourself. Who do you think you are? Have you drunk too much wind and sand from the Northwest? If someone calls you the king of the Northwest, are you crazy? Li Changgong's eyes flashed with cold light. Haha, are you only good at talking? If you don't dare to fight, just say you are afraid, and I will never embarrass you. After all, he raised the wine glass in his hand and shook the 60-year-old Maodai. I, Li Changgong, don't bother to be on the same level with the cowardly mice. Zhang Yi smiled faintly. He knocked on the table in front of him with his right hand. What a coincidence, I also hate men without guts. Since you are begging me to fight with you, I can meet your humble request. But I don't play with children. If you want to fight, you must add some prizes. Zhang Yi suddenly became fierce, his eyes sharp as if he wanted to eat people. We are all Ypsilons. Since we have to decide the winner, we must not hold back. So, I'm going to bet my life with you. The winner can live, and the loser must die. His eyes were fixed on Li Changgong. This sudden huge bet shocked everyone. Zhang Yi actually wanted to risk his life right from the start. This is equivalent to flipping the table directly. Pajajesang from the southwest region has begun to wipe his sweat with a handkerchief. Suzaka's face is also a little pale, looking at Li Changgong anxiously. Li Changgong's face really changed slightly. Betting life? Although he thought he had Zhang Yi in his grasp, if it rose to the point of betting life, it would not be the same concept. Exchanging is exchanging, and risking life is risking life. We are all Ypsilons. If we risk our lives, we will leave no room for maneuver and find ways to kill the other party to end it. Even if he wins, he dare not guarantee that he will not be seriously injured by Zhang Yi. A strong man of the Epsilon level who counterattacks regardless of life and death is no joke. Han Shanzhuo looked at Zhang Yi and couldn't help but give him a thumbs up. Good boy, you are really a brave guy. I admire you. Qin Shigong quickly stepped forward to smooth things over. Hundun, Go Chun, calm down. The world is in chaos now, and Huashu country needs you pillars to support it. Any casualties among you will be a huge loss for Huashu country. It's okay to stop at a certain point in a dispute of pride, but you must not fight for your life. Zhang Yi laughed. While laughing, he looked at Li Changgong with extremely mocking eyes. What's the matter, Commander Li? Are you afraid? He slapped the table. Weren't you so awesome just now? Li Changgong shouted in a deep voice. Zhang Yi, do you really want to die? Your strength is only 13,000 points. Why do you want to fight with me for life and death? Zhang Yi leaned back in his chair carelessly, and in front of everyone, he put his legs on the table, and his feet were just pointed at Li Changgong. At this time, they had already torn their faces apart, and he didn't care about his image. He was just a small figure in Tianhai City. Li Changgong was from a military family and a favored child. It would be the most foolish for Zhang Yi to care about his image and face. If I can die with you, I won't lose anything. You are the commander of the Northwest region. Even if I can't kill you, believe me, I will make you suffer unforgettable pain in your life. Zhang Yi's eyes were full of ruthlessness, and he looked like a desperado. Even Li Changgong was stunned by Zhang Yi's momentum for a while. He didn't dare to gamble his life with Zhang Yi, because he had much more fame, power, money, beauty, almost everything than this small warehouse manager in Tianhai City. He couldn't afford to lose, and even if it was a miserable victory, he didn't think it was worth it. You are a lunatic. Li Changgong pointed at Zhang Yi angrily and shouted, his face flushed. The supreme commander of the Northwest region was young after all, and he was still broken. Qin Shigong laughed in his heart. After all, he is still young and can't keep his temper. At this moment, Zhang Yi suddenly crossed his hands and changed to a lazy expression. You are afraid of being scared by a random scare. With this little courage, what else can I say to you? Zhang Yi's sudden change of face made the people on the scene feel relieved, and at the same time, some couldn't help laughing. Zhang Yi's style of play is very rogue. Among all the people present, he is the only one who can play like this. Because he is the only one without any identity or background, just a small person from the bottom of the society, so he has nothing to worry about and doesn't have many concerns. He dared to gamble his life right away, and no one else could be so straightforward. And the smiles of the people who couldn't help laughing fell into the eyes of Li Changgong, who had just taken power, and it became a kind of bitter irony. Chapter 1149. I request you to pay the appearance fee. Li Changgong held the wine glass in his right hand, and he was trying to control his strength. Otherwise, this precious wine glass would be crushed into powder in an instant. But he couldn't do it. He was a noble person, born in an extraordinary family, and a child of destiny. He had to maintain his noble elegance. But his mentality had already been messed up by Zhang Yi.
Hundun.
You want to bet your life with me? Okay, I'll bet with you. Li Changgong was so excited that he squeezed out these words from his teeth to maintain his dignity. Qin Shigong hurriedly acted as a peacemaker again. Go Chun, Hundun, don't be impulsive. You've drunk too much. His face became majestic. I only say one thing. In my Xinjiang district, you are absolutely not allowed to do this. Not only here, even if you leave Xinjiang, I will never sit idly by and watch the internal fratricide in Huashu country. Whoever dares to kill his compatriots, my Xinjiang district will never let him go. Qin Shigong, he is a veteran military leader in Huashu country. When he was angry, Li Changgong and Zhang Yi had to shut up and give him some face. Zhang Yi smiled slightly. In this case, I'm afraid I have to withdraw from this operation. Zhang Yi pushed the wine glass in his hand to the table. I don't want to be a teammate with such a person. Zhang Yi glanced at Li Changgong with a smile. Qin Shigong had a headache at this time. The East China Sea region obviously could not participate in the operation due to objective conditions. The Southwest region even only sent the third person, and the complicated local situation made the hope even slimmer. And Zhang Yi and Li Changgong had this incident. If it could not be properly handled, it was obvious that neither of them would participate in the operation. This was not the situation they wanted to see. Qin Shigong looked at the two of them, thought for a moment, and slammed the table. What a fucking trouble. You two little guys are really good at making trouble. Can't you defend your country peacefully together? Well, since it's like this now, let's do it according to the military's methods. Go Chun Hundun if you have any grudges. Just fight to resolve them. But I've said in advance that we must stop at a certain point, and absolutely no actions that hurt people's lives are allowed. What do you think? Qin Shigong could see that the battle between Li Changgong and Zhang Yi was inevitable.
If
they didn't fight today, they would only fight more fiercely later. It would be better to set up a stage and let them fight to their heart's content. At least Xingjing can supervise and control it. Li Changgong said in a deep voice. General Qin has spoken, and I have no objection. Zhang Yi rubbed his fingers and looked at Li Changgong meaningfully. Okay, then let's fight. But I won't fight for nothing. There must be a reward. He crossed his hands on the table and said in a serious tone, and if you want me to fight, I must pay a certain price. After all, I am also an Epsilon-level strongman. If I fight anyone who wants to fight me, how embarrassed I will be. I ask the Northwest region to pay my appearance fee. Everyone was shocked by Zhang Yi's fussing. Even Guan Longyue, who was watching the scene behind the scenes, tilted his head. His eyes fell on Zhang Yi, and a curious look flashed. Han Shanzhua couldn't help but slap the table. Ha ha ha. Brother, you are really talented. You must have been a tailor in your previous life. Jiang Han also wanted to laugh, but considering the atmosphere on the scene, he forced himself to hold it back. But the way she didn't laugh was also very painful for people to watch. Li Changgong's forehead was full of black lines. Qin Shigong smiled and said to Li Changgong, Nephew, look, they have agreed to fight you. Do you want to show your support? Li Changgong gritted his teeth, stared at Zhang Yi and said, Okay, I will give you 100 million worth of materials. Is that enough? Zhang Yi frowned. Who are you looking down on? If the foreigners next door know, they will think that our northwest region of Huashu country has no money. I'll tell you a number. 1 billion. Li Changgong was so angry that he was about to explode. Fuck. You've almost got it. Why don't you go rob it? Zhang Yi pointed at him and said, Hey, you're wrong. It's better than robbing. Before being driven crazy by Zhang Yi, Li Changgong finally reached a value of 300 million before the end of the world. The value of this batch of materials has already increased many times now. Zhang Yi was quite satisfied. Now you can fight me, right? Li Changgong's voice was like a constipated person who was trying hard to hold back the urge to defecate and forced a sentence out of his mouth. Zhang Yi took a sip of water. I know you are anxious, but don't worry. Bring me the supplies you promised me first, and then we can talk about fighting. He stretched out his hand to Li Changgong and asked for the supplies. Where can I get them for you now? Li Changgong was furious. I will give them to you after the battle. Do you think I, the supreme commander of the Northwest region, will owe you 300 million yuan in supplies? Zhang Yi shook his head. Words are not enough. What if you regret it? He stretched out his hand and pointed at the 2 long swords that Li Changgong never left. They were 2 long swords with very fine workmanship. This is the beauty seen from a man's perspective. It is not the kind of flashy and impractical, but a kind of violent beauty full of murderous spirit. Li Changgong took a deep breath and tried to control his urge to draw his sword and chop people. His endurance is almost reaching its limit. Do you think I'm stupid? These 2 swords are my weapons. What can I use to fight you if I give them to you? Li Changgong held down his long sword and sneered. After the fight, I will ask someone to get supplies for you as your medical expenses. Qin Shigong said helplessly, Okay, the 300 million supplies will be paid by our Shengjing district. Zhang Yi, you can fight him. Zhang Yi nodded. Well, I still have to give face to Shengjing district. Everyone present breathed a sigh of relief and thought, these two things are finally over, and they can finally fight. Zhang Yi slowly stood up, and everyone was about to get up to watch a hearty battle. But at this time, Zhang Yi slowly sat down again. There's one more thing I need to clarify. Say it. Li Changgong clenched his fists tightly, and everyone at the scene could hear the crunching sound of his finger bones. Zhang Yi glanced at Li Changgong. Since I have received your appearance fee, then do you think I am fighting for real or fake? Li Changgong, I fucking Yuan percent hashtag Yuan percent Yuan. If there was no one holding him down, Li Changgong might have really drawn his sword and chopped people on the spot. Zhang Yi saw that the atmosphere was almost brewing and Li Changgong's Taoism had been influenced by him, so he stood up with a smile. Okay, I know what I'm doing. I will hold back when I attack, because I'm too soft-hearted. Li Changgong shouted at the top of his voice, like an angry lion. Who asked you to give in? Don't stop me. I must chop him to death today. Chapter 1150, I Am God's Will. Xingjing prepared a special battlefield for Zhang Yi and Li Changgong. Since both of them are at the Ypsilon level, if they fight freely, they can easily destroy a city. So the location chosen is in the Jibei Plain, 100 kilometers away from Xingjing City. Ypsilon-level battles are extremely rare, and of course not everyone is qualified to watch them. In fact, only those in the banquet hall actually went there. Zhang Yi did not want them to watch the battle. After all, that would expose his ability to outsiders. But the presence of Qin Shigong and others is necessary. After all, Zhang Yi did not dare to guarantee that he could beat Li Changgong 100%. The presence of Qin Shigong and others is equivalent to adding a life insurance. As for the leakage of information about abilities, it is inevitable. After all, everyone will most likely go to the Qinling Mountains to act together, and it is impossible to hide it. However, Qin Shigong still strictly stated that everything that happened on the scene today is not allowed to be spread by anyone. Everyone present agreed, and then looked forward to the start of this battle from a distance. In fact, it is difficult to see the battle between the two with the naked eye, so it is necessary to use the Nebula Global Satellite Monitoring System. Including Guan Longyue from the Earth Temple, she also curled up her legs and sat on the soft quilt, staring at the two people on the Jibei Plain. Qin Shigong turned on the communication equipment and said to her, when necessary, we may not be able to stop it in time, so we have to rely on you. Guan Longyue's cold voice came, don't worry, I'm here, no one will die. Qin Shigong nodded, feeling relieved. When everyone left far enough away, the battle had already begun without anyone issuing orders. No one could command the two Ypsilon strongmen, and the people who came were just witnesses of this battle. As mentioned before the winner is determined, as long as it does not involve life and death, no one will stop it. Everyone stared at the huge satellite projection screen in front of them. Their expressions were particularly focused. Watching the battle between top strongmen in their view is a learning process. Having powerful abilities is only the basis for becoming a strong man. And equally important is to learn how to use your abilities flexibly. Zhang Yi and Li Changgong kept a distance of 10 kilometers. He took a deep breath, exhaled slowly, and then took out the huge sniper rifle from the alien space with his right hand, Lei. The best weapon, the best condition, and the most perfect skills to adapt to sniping. Zhang Yi is now at the peak of his combat power in history. He will release all his strength without scruples to deal with this powerful enemy who has a superpower index of 16,000 points and has mastered his personal information. He will definitely kill him. As for whether he can save Li Changgong from him, it is a problem that Qin Shigong needs to consider. Anyway, Zhang Yi will not show mercy because of his scruples. Tracing all things locks a space in front of him. In the next 2 seconds, all the movements in front of him will be captured by him. All things unfolds thousands of dimensional gates, 1/3 of which are used to form a huge polyhedron to protect Zhang Yi himself. 60 times the space acceleration allows him to chase, escape, and pull the trigger at the fastest speed at any time. Seeing this scene, Qin Shigong couldn't help but sigh. There are not many aliens in the Ypsilon realm who can use hot weapons to fight. I have to say that Hundan is a talent, More importantly, there are also talents around him. They can build such a set of equipment for him. Han Shanzhua put his hands behind his back, with some envy in his eyes. A set of tailor-made weapons can increase the combat effectiveness of aliens by 20% to 30%. The huge thunderbolt was lifted up. 10 kilometers away, Li Changgong suddenly felt that he was being stared at. He was not unfamiliar with this feeling. When he was training in the Northwest, he had encountered an ambush by a pack of mutant wolves. The feeling of being stared at by the Wolf King at midnight is just like this time and place. Zhang Yi pulled the trigger without hesitation. Li Changgong held down the long sword with both hands, and his figure disappeared from the spot like a ghost. He crouched down, like a white wolf king, and rushed towards Zhang Yi in an arc. The speed of the bullet was too fast, and Li Changgong's speed was too fast. It was so fast that the naked eye could not catch it at all. Everyone who watched the two people fighting through the video was confused. Only Han Shanzhua could barely see it clearly, and Zhang Han was already sweating profusely. In an Epsilon-level battle, the first move was already earth-shattering. That was no longer the human dimension, in the general sense. But no matter how fast Li Changgong was, he was not as fast as Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi was fast because he predicted the trajectory of Li Changgong's future actions in advance. The moment Zhang Yi fired, he captured Zhang Yi's shooting action, but he could not escape the path that was destined for him. The bullet came to Li Changgong in an instant and enlarged in his pupils. Li Changgong's eyes were as cold as the ice and snow in the Arctic that would not melt for thousands of years, emitting a faint blue light like a wild wolf. With his eyes fixed on the bullet, his right hand wearing a white glove drew out the saber in a flash. Shwa! A sharp knife flashed in front of him, plain and simple, without any frills. The bullet flying at high speed was split in half from the middle, and then shot to the ground from the side of Li Changgong. Two circular pits with a diameter of more than 1,000 meters appeared silently at the landing point of the shrapnel. Everything that existed was swallowed by the void. Li Changgong's knife was so fast that he could accurately hit the bullet shot by Zhang Yi. You know, Zhang Yi didn't hold back at all in this attack. Zhang Yi didn't hesitate when the first shot failed, and directly pulled the trigger for the second shot. Li Changgong continued to rush forward. Bang! 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 One bullet after another was fired from the muzzle of the thunder gun, shooting at Li Changgong's chest and head. It was obviously a sniper rifle, but in Zhang Yi's hands, it played a firing rate comparable to that of an assault rifle. He didn't need to aim at all, and the direction of his mind was the direction of the bullet. But he could capture fate, but he couldn't stop Li Changgong from splitting his bullets with a single sword. Zhang Yi used a gun. The bullet shot at super high speed contained huge kinetic energy and could easily destroy a mountain. But Li Changgong easily dissolved it with his own strength. Specialty system, space system ability user. Zhang Yi muttered in his heart. If Deng Shintong hadn't found out the information about Li Changgong, Zhang Yi might really be misunderstood and think that Li Changgong was a top-level enhancement system alien. However, he was not. Northwest King Li Changgong. Military code name, Emperor Go Chen. Specialty system ability user, known to have space system ability. Master the superpower. I am God's will.